Hi guys, Hedera. What's next for its price? Where it's heading? And we're looking at the weekly candlestick chart of Hedera with these Wyckoff method stages in blue. Before getting into the details about the consecutive drop and also the declining volume, but still at a level pretty much the same when it rose earlier this month and also last month. Just want to mention the same thing, these sessions are not financial advice, they're for education research purpose only. So here, if you look at it, this gap is widening compared to these two. Over here, these two are pretty much like, okay, some people buying over here and then some very strong selling force from above the yellow line, and last week even from below the yellow line. And currently this candle seems like it's getting deeper with less volume. So basically it's kind of like it's not, or it's taking a break, let's put it this way. This week seems like it's taking a break, but don't be so sure it's over. It may not be over yet compared to the accumulation cycle over here. So if we look at the long-term playground zone, the long-term trend, it's not horizontal. I factor in, you can call it like inflation consideration or whatever terminology you like. Here, that's pretty much this white line on the top is what we are looking at as a support line. So if the price comes further down, somewhere around 13 cents would make sense to provide a stronger support, much like the sign of weakness stage back in early April. So we are close to 2 months from that point, and it's like it's heading that way to test this support again. And if we look at here, the last distribution cycle in 2022, 21, 22, there were multiple LPSYs, around 3 of them, before it comes to like a crazy drop with like 8, 9 consecutive red candles. Currently, we see 2 LPSYs. It's not impossible that it's got like a little bit horizontal kind of LPSY over here when it bounces off from the white box. If it doesn't go all the way down there, it depends on what events it's going to trigger this massive sell, right? If all of a sudden the market treat some news as very positive, even if it's not, then it can retest the yellow line, but going past it seems to be quite challenging unless the news is really positive, because these 2 candles are telling us the selling force over here is pretty strong. Even if it managed to come up a little bit, it got pushed all the way down back to below the yellow line. So daily chart, pretty much like Bitcoin and some other altcoins, as you have seen in those sessions, that this blue line, the upward trend line, has been broken this week. For Hedera, it's much earlier. It was actually Saturday last week, exactly the day that we did the session last week, that it closed below, and the next day it wasn't able to reclimb back to above the line and closed as a green cross. There's obviously some buying activity over here from like this, the center line of the pink box. You see this center line over here, right? The pink. That's where it's got a little bit of support. Same for 27th, 28th. So pretty much buying from this point, but got declined or rejected from the blue line. The blue line has become the resistance line, and currently it's coming down to this where it finds a little bit of support, because over here it was the same. There were some horizontal movements or quite a bit of exchange of hands, so that's why it's natural we see it seems to get a little bit of support over here. If we are to test it again, it seems like it's following a downward trend right now, and it's trying to stay above this new blue line. Let's use a different blue. I'll keep it at current interval and change the last one to light blue. So next week when we come back, we will be able to see whether the price of Hedera is going to continue to follow this downward trend, the blue line, and all the way through the pink box, similar to what's being tested early April. So we're getting the early June. It'll be interesting to see whether the same tests happen like beginning of this month. It has to be a very sharp drop for if it has to happen next 5-6 days. But if we extend further, like over here, it's like mid-June that we are talking about in order for the price to test this point. So let's see what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Thanks for joining me this week. Safe trading, set your stop loss,